how are you? Welcome to my channel. So today in this live stream vlog, I am going to share my monthly results for the month of March 2024. So thank you so much for joining me today. It is Monday, the 1st of April. It's a bank holiday Monday. It is also April Fool's Day today. So I hope that you're good. I hope that you have had a really good bank holiday weekend. And if you've had Monday off, or today off, I hope you're still enjoying the bank holiday season. So if this is your first time joining me here on the channel, then a huge warm welcome. My name is Angela, and thank you for coming and spending a little time out with me today. So what we do on this channel, we're all about healthy lifestyle, healthy living, health, wellness, weight loss, all of that good thing. And I do a bit of everything here. I do a little bit of cooking, some healthy recipes. In the summer, when the weather improves, I'm going to do a bit more gardening. I do vlogs about what I eat in a day. I share my monthly weight loss results, which I'm doing today. And I share my thoughts and ideas around the weight loss journey. Because to date, I've lost, as of this moment, I've lost 117 pounds. But I will tell you my weight loss results for the month of March in a few minutes. So do stay watching right to the end, when I will share with you all of those results. So what I like to do at the end of the month is do a review of my whole month. I've done every sort of weigh-in available. I've gone from standard weekly weigh-in from when I used to go to studio workshops. I've gone to, a couple of times a week. I've gone to daily weigh-ins. I've done fortnightly weigh-ins. I've done weigh-ins as and when the sun shines in this country, which isn't very often. And to be honest, that is my preferred way. I don't like to get caught up on the scales, but for the purposes of YouTube and this channel and this community, I weigh in monthly. So I'm going to share with you my weigh-in and measurement results in a moment. So I can see I've got a few people with me. So good afternoon. It is great to have you with me today. So we're going to just dive straight into this. So the month of March has been a really, really interesting month for me for all sorts of reasons. It has highlighted for me that when I'm put in a new situation and new environments, then my mindset and my habits can have a really big wobble. But it's also taught me the power of reflection, that when I take the time to reflect and then do that correct course correction, it really, really helps. So it's been a month with lots of challenges for me, but I also think that that's not necessarily a bad thing, because my journey since August 2022 has been pretty much consistent, very, very consistent in terms of my weight loss, because I weigh monthly. We often say in the weight loss community that it's not very often you will find somebody whose weight loss chart is like that. It is up and down, up and down, up and down. However, mine is very much on that downward trajectory, only because I weigh monthly. If I was weighing daily or weekly, I would see that up and down trajectory, but I don't. I weigh monthly, so my chart is just consistently like that. So yes, and thank you, Nita. I have my voice back. It's about 95% back. I still have a little bit of a croak, but it is back for the most part. So thank you so much for that. So yeah, I see consistent weight loss, and I'm going to tell you a bit more about what I do to get that consistent weight loss and to have that downward trajectory. So the month of March, so I started a brand new job in March, and alongside that I was doing a really intensive training program. And when I say it's intensive, I mean it's very intensive. So it meant that my whole lifestyle excuse me, my whole lifestyle changed, completely changed. I've gone from working at home for the past 4 years, literally rolling out of bed and switching on the camera, to now having to get up, get dressed, get in the car and drive to the other end of the city, and early as well. So, and then being in an office environment with lots of people, and then working to a clock and to a regime, and then coming home and thinking about my evening meal. So that has been a massive lifestyle change for me. Whereas when I worked in my home, my workshops were like an hour, and then I'd have a break, and then a couple of hours later I'd do another hour, and then I'd have another couple of hours break. So, you know, the kitchen was always on tap. And at first that was really hard for me because I was always in the kitchen, always munching. But I adjusted to that. I absolutely adjusted and made it work for me. So now I'm in this brand new environment, and yeah, it's a bit of a challenge. It's a challenge. So I realized that and a few things I noticed, because I'm now up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I am literally out the house by 7:30. I'm spending a lot more energy moving around, and also I'm prepping food or getting my food in my lunch bag. Now I'm thinking about food. I'm thinking about it. Whereas when I worked at home, I would get up, have a coffee, have a cup of tea, and it would be like 11:30, 12 o'clock, sometimes even later, before I even thought about food, before I even wanted to eat. So that's been a massive change for me. And now that I'm sort of eating a lot earlier, I'm finding that I'm eating more as well. And so I've really had to look at that and find ways of dealing with that. And then it was really easy to be snacking on the crisps as well. That was really easy. So I started finding that, you know, I was really snacking unconsciously. And what I discovered as well was something really deep for me. You know, we often say in the weight loss community that if you're snacking, you know, find those reasons why. It could be tiredness, that new situation, could be boredom and all of that. And for me, I was doing that, but felt it was just the sticky plaster. I felt that being in this new environment had opened up this great big wound, because I was feeling all of these different emotions. Excuse me. I was feeling lots and lots of different emotions. Excuse me, I've still got my tickle. I've got my bottle of water, so please excuse me. I should have had a glass, really. There we go. Yeah, I was feeling all these emotions, and, you know, we're often saying, you know, just, you know, it could be tiredness, it could be boredom, it could be loneliness. For me, it was none of those. It was none of those things, because I wasn't lonely. I was in an office environment with lots of new friends. I've made some incredible friends straight away. I was really enjoying what I was doing. There was times I was bored, I have to say, because the training it's a bit dry. So there was a little bit of that, but I realized it was a lot deeper. And it had opened up this huge wound of emotions. And I realized that when I went out and started buying the biscuits, I was hoarding the biscuits in my desk and in my locker. And, you know, I don't even have one packet of biscuits in my house. Don't have a pack of biscuits. Yeah, I haven't had biscuits in my house for the longest time. I don't have biscuits. But yet, in this environment, the past month, I was going out, I was buying rich tea biscuits, and I was buying digestive biscuits. And I've got them in my desk, and we're not allowed to eat at our desk. And I was like secretly eating them at my desk. And I'm like, Angela, what's going on? What's going on? I really had to get deep and ask myself those questions. What's going on with you? Why are you feeling the need to eat secretly and munch your way through packets and packets of biscuits? And the thing was, I don't even like digestives, and I'm not even that hot on rich tea biscuits either. And it dawned on me this one day when I was really deeply reflecting that those are the biscuits my mother used to buy. Every week my mother bought rich tea and digestive biscuits. And then I realised I was still in mourning. I was still grieving. It was still part of that grieving process. It had come back up. And part of that was, you know, I was in this new situation and I wanted my mum. And in the past, whenever I, you know, got a new job or, you know, a new situation, I would always talk to my mother about it. I'd always tell her. And now I didn't have that. She wasn't there. So I found comfort in the food that my mother used to have. And that was really, really, really deep. Really deep. And that helped me to understand why I mean, I could have gone for any biscuits. I could have gone for chocolate biscuits. I could have gone for any kind of biscuits, hobnobs, but I didn't. I went for the 2 biscuit types that my mother always bought, always for years. And I realized that was a deep connection there. So once I realized that, I was able then to deal with those emotions of grief and put that issue to bed. So I'm over the biscuits. So yeah, you know, it really taught me that sometimes we have to get past the sticky plaster. We have to just move past the, well, you know, are you bored? Well, what can you do instead? You know, are you tired? Can you get to bed earlier? Are you feeling sad? Well, can you do something to make yourself happy? All of those are the sticky plaster. And sometimes we have to get past that and we have to go a lot deeper. Interesting, Nita, you bought some sponge buns and those were what your mother made, yeah? Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes, you know, and we often say that food often has relevance and meaning and significance. Yeah. So like you're saying, those buns were linked to your mother. It's a memory linked to your mother. Those biscuits were linked to a memory of my mother. You know, certain types of food and meals, even things like yogurts or, you know, meats, etc., have got significance because it's related to those memories. And sometimes if we're craving something or if we're just being navigated, drawn to something, sometimes it's just about just putting the brakes on and say, what's going on with me? Why am I wanting this? What's the significance? What's deeper? And then when we're able to go deeper, we're able to deal with that. So once I realized that I was grieving, still in that grieving process for my mother, I was able just to do something about that. Yeah, I was able to deal with that, to address my grief. And once I did that, and so on Thursday and Friday, those biscuits that were in my drawer, didn't touch them. Didn't touch, not one. Not one, because I dealt with the emotion. Yeah, dealt with that emotion. So I found that really, really interesting this past month. So the other things that I had to deal with was like the crisps as well. And I also realized that many years ago, when I worked in an office, I was in HR, I used to be so busy in the day. Crisps were my mainstay. And again, I used to just literally munch through bags of crisps because I didn't have time to eat, or, I was working 70 hours and getting paid for 35. I was ridiculously busy. So crisps and snacks were what I lived on. That's probably why I put on so much weight and got seriously ill as well. So I decided, okay, I'm going to swap out some snacks. So instead of the crisps, I took and if you saw any of my vlogs last week, you'll see that I took a little container full of popcorn. And they sat, and interestingly enough, they sat in my desk all week. Didn't touch them. Didn't touch them. I ended up bringing them home and I ate them last night. And the reason I think I didn't touch them was because it was there. I had a choice and it was there. And I was no longer thinking, oh, I want the snacks, I want the crisps. It was there and I could have it if I wanted to, and I chose not to. Plus, also, I dealt with that emotion of the grief emotion. I dealt with that. So I was finding myself the last couple of days in the office, I was finding myself sailing through the day and not having the need to snack, which I thought was also really, really interesting. So yeah, some interesting things happening for me in the month of March. I also committed to getting my activity going again. And being in an office, you see, when I worked at home, I was up and down the stairs, going to the loo, making the beds in the day, pushing the vacuum around, cleaning. I was very active. And now I'm sat at a desk. And although it's a very long office, I walk from one end of the office to the other. Okay, but it's not quite the same level of activity. So I committed to doing 3 walks a week because, there's a nearby high street. So I thought I'll just walk the length of the high street and to get some activity in, as long as the weather's good, because, the arthritis has been pretty bad this week. But as long as the weather is dry, I committed to that. And, high five to me. I actually managed that. Yeah. So what I would do, because I don't want to be unsociable either, so I will have my lunch, sit in the dining area with my colleagues, have my lunch, have a little chat with them for about 20 minutes, and then I go out for a walk. And then I get back, and if I've got 10 minutes left, I'll sit and have a chat with them and then get back to work. So that way it just keeps me active, and I'm really, really enjoying that. I'm also finding that I'm still keeping those healthy habits going as much as I can by making sure that for my meals I am still focusing in on the protein and the fiber. Those are my 2 key things. So if you followed me in the week, you'll have seen what I eat in a day, there's always some protein and fiber in there. There's some fruit as well. Also plenty of water. I bought me a brand new, I've got 5, I'm a hoarder when it comes to water bottles. I've got 5 of these water bottles at home in my fridge because I do like my water really cold. So I have 5 of them in the fridge and I just like keep, cycling them. And I used to take one to work, but what I did now, I bought a brand new water bottle. It's a full litre that I keep at work, and I also bought some squash as well, and that I keep in the office. So I just keep topping that up, and that way I'm getting plenty of water, because the office runs either really, really, really hot or it's quite cold. So when it's hot, I'm just so thirsty, and I've just been drinking lots of tea and coffee, which is a diuretic. So just replacing that with water. So 1 cup of tea, and then drinking a bottle of water, and then maybe have a coffee in the afternoon, and then having plenty of water. So mixing that up, yeah. I am still keeping to my healthy habit of finishing by 7 in the evening, finishing eating by then. So I've practiced an intermittent fasting lifestyle, and when I was working at home, I used to like to start eating by about 11:30, 12 o'clock. On the odd occasions I would eat earlier, but typically 11:30 to 12 I would start eating. That's gone out the window now, completely gone out the window, because now I find that, as I mentioned earlier, because I'm up earlier, I'm moving more, I'm hungrier. So I'm like, okay, I just need to adjust that. No big deal. I'm just going to adjust that. So I tend to start eating usually about 8 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock when I get into the office. And then I still do finish eating by 6, 7 o'clock at the absolute latest. And I'm really happy with that, because by the time I get home, about in the evening, I have my meal, and then that's it, my cut off, because I'm not just doing it for I'm not doing it for weight loss, I'm doing it for health. But I know that if I eat late, I ain't gonna sleep. So there's no way I'm going to be eating at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. That is not happening, because I need my sleep. This face needs its beauty sleep. It needs it. So I like to finish at 6 o'clock if I can, but I give myself that little leeway, and so far that is really good. That's happening, and I don't really see that changing. It's just the start of the day that I've had to move that right back to 7:38. But this coming week, I'm going to start pushing it back just a little bit. So maybe I'll start off at 8 and then push it back to 8:15, and then 8:30, and then maybe to 9 o'clock, or just before I start work. And then just want to then just keep pushing it back a little bit, maybe in half an hour chunks. So my first meal of the day, I will try and have at my break time, which is usually around 10:30, 11, and then I'll see how I go. So that's the plan. But if I don't do that, it's no big deal. At least I'm still finishing at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, which is still going to mean that it's going to not affect my sleep too much. My mindset, apart from my wobble, and the interesting thing with my mindset is, me guys, I'm the podcast queen. I always listen to podcasts. I'm listening to so many, oh my goodness, such enlightening, interesting podcasts. I'm still listening to true crime fiction, FBI case files. Really, really fascinating. I'm listening to podcasts around cult religion as well. Goodness me, so fascinating. And I also like to listen to the Zoe podcasts as well, although to be fair, I haven't listened to as many this past month, only because the Mormons, the religious cults and the FBI files have just totally got me gripped. So I like to listen to all of those. But my mindset, as I say, had a little wobble at the start of the month because of this new situation. But I was really pleased that I caught that and I was able to do something about it. Now, in the past, I wouldn't have caught it. I would have just continued knowing that I needed to do something about it, but wouldn't have known how to have dealt with that. Didn't know what was going on or how to take that time to reflect and to put something in place. I didn't have those skills, but I do now. I have those skills now. So I was able to just to recognize that I was having a mindset wobble because of being in this new environment. I was able to do that reflection, catch myself, really go deep and understand why I was craving those things, why my eating was all over the place. And it wasn't even that I was eating huge amounts of food. It wasn't even that I was eating foods, and I don't want to say unhealthy foods, and I don't want to say, definitely not going to say bad foods, but it wasn't that I wasn't eating foods that were not going to support my body. It wasn't even that. It was the constant grazing. I was just constantly grazing. You know, I'd have, say, for example, I'd have, say, like, you know, something at 7, and then by the time I got in the office at like 8:30, I wanted to eat again, and then by like snack break time, I'd be having another snack, and then I'd get back to my desk, and then, you know, I'd be having another snack, and then it'd be lunchtime, I'd be eating my lunch, and then I'd be having a snack before I go back to finish my lunch off, and then I'd have another snack in the afternoon, and then I'd have another snack before I leave work to go home. It was just constantly grazing. And it wasn't even like it was like really you know, poor quality food. Wasn't like it was, you know, I mean, for example, I was snacking on things like almonds. I've got some almonds and walnuts with me in the desk. You know, I had those as well. I had like Rivita with some avocado in the fridge at work. I'd be snacking on those as well. So it wasn't like it was all really ultra processed foods that were not nutritious. It wasn't even that. The problem for me was I was just constantly grazing. So really had to deal with that, really had to, you know, try and understand what was going on and to deal with that. So again, we're back tomorrow, so it'll be interesting to see, you know, how that works for me. I do have strategy, I do have a plan. So my plan is, and I'm going to be cooking up some things a little bit later, so when I do, I might just jump on and do a live. So do look at, if you've not subscribed, or click that subscribe notification, the subscribe button or the notification bell, please feel free to do so, because as soon as I go live, you'll be notified. So I might well do that. I've got some pastry that I want to make some feta and tuna tarts with, and I also want to do an apple tart as well. So I want to make some stuff to take in with me. Yeah, so might as well do that. I've got to do a bit of cleaning. I've got to pop out to Tesco's as well. Let me tell you a story time. So, you know, I've got 3 cats, I have put a picture of my 3 cats in the community post. So my one cat, Betsy, she's the white Bengal. She is incredibly beautiful. So she's got a bit of a problem, a digestive problem at the moment. So the vet has advised that she needs to have boiled chicken. I know. So I know. First he said she needs a diet of chicken and rice. I was like, seriously? So gave her the rice. She ain't touching the rice. She ain't touching it. She's been having scrambled eggs as well. I'd be coming home all last week, past fortnight, cooking her up scrambled eggs. I know. But now he said she needs to be on chicken, boiled chicken. So I buy like packs of chicken breasts. And last night I took, because I cook them in batches. So I boiled 4 chicken breasts, and I don't know if you've seen the size of chicken breasts these days, but 1 chicken breast can feed a family of 4. Yeah. So I boiled up 4 individual chicken breasts, and I took them out. Once they were cooked, I took them out the pot, put them in a container, half left the lid on so the air could come out of it and they could cool down. Well, I forgot to put the lid, I forgot to seal it. So the lid is on, but it's slanted, so the air, there's a little bit of air can come out of it. So that was last night. This morning, my one cat, Benji, the ginger one, he comes upstairs and he's licking his lips. And I'm like, very unusual, because normally they're all like screaming for me to go down and feed them. But he comes up and he's licking his lips, and I'm like, oh no, the chicken. Well, I go downstairs, look in the kitchen. There's nothing on the floor. I was like, oh, good. Maybe there's some chicken left. Well, how foolish was I to think that? I looked at the bowl and there was nothing in the bowl. These cats polished off 4 massive chicken breasts. Couldn't believe it. There wasn't even like the water left in the bowl. They'd completely eaten 4 massive chicken breasts. I was like, I've got gannets. I've got gannets. Never mind cats. I've got gannets. There was not a morsel left. There was no evidence that there was chicken in this bowl. I know. That was supposed to be their dinner for the next like 3 days. I know. So I'm going to have to go back out and buy more chicken breast. These cats costing me a fortune, I tell you. And I say to them, some people can't even afford to have chicken, and they're having chicken rice and scrambled eggs for their dinner. I know. But it's only just to get her over this hump, because she's got this, you know, a really bad tummy. She's on antibiotics as well, and probiotics. I know. Cost me a fortune. I'm gonna have to take a second job just to keep these cats fed. Anyway, story time is over. Let's get back to it. So I've been listening to lots of podcasts, and you know, and I love podcasts, and it doesn't always have to be about the health and wellness journey. It's just random, as I said, FBI files, cults, all sorts of stuff. But what it does, it just helps to keep, it helps me to learn things, and I love to learn. So my learning about what happens in the world is gone up here. Amazing. It also keeps my mind focused, because I'm not thinking about food. You know, I'm not thinking about food. I can be sat in my house, sat watching TV, listening to a podcast. You know, TV's on, but I'm listening to a podcast. I'm not thinking about food. Yeah, I'm tidying, cleaning, not thinking about food. Yeah. So that it really helps me in that way. So I love listening to podcasts. So my mindset had a little bit of a wobble, but I think those podcasts has really helped me to just refocus. And interestingly, just as I've said that, you see, that's why reflection is really good. I've just realized when I've been working at home, or even on the weekend, say like this bank holiday weekend, I've got my earphones in and I'm listening to my podcast, not thinking about food. But when I'm in the office, I'm not listening to podcast. I'm not listening to, I can't, I've got to be on my training. And we're doing it virtually, so we're on Microsoft Teams and we're in a virtual room. I'm not listening to a podcast. And I'm grazing. Now, isn't that an interesting correlation? When I'm listening to podcasts, I don't think about food. Definitely not grazing. But this past week, I've not been able to listen to my podcasts. Or this past month, I've not been able to listen to my podcast or my podcast of choice. And I'm grazing like a cow in the field. Isn't that interesting? That is very, very, very interesting. Yeah. I'll have to see if I can secretly put my earphone in and listen to my podcast and the other ear listening to the training. It's very interesting when we reflect and then we can connect the dots. So I'm going to have to try that next week. Yeah, you know, it is so interesting. It is so interesting because Thursday and Friday last week, remember I said I didn't even touch those biscuits in the desk? And that was because my virtual training had finished and now we were shadowing. It's part of our consolidation week. So we're able to shadow colleagues who are doing the work live. And Thursday, Friday was a quiet day, so there were times where I was able just to put my headphones in and listen to my podcast, and I wasn't grazing. That is so interesting. So interesting. On those days where I had my earphones in the office and I was able to listen to my podcast, no grazing. That is so interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah, so I'm going to have to monitor that. Yeah, monitor that. So I say my food is good apart from the grazing. Mindset, little wobble, but back on course and doing a lot of reflection. My activity, now interestingly, now that we turned the clocks back yesterday and we've got longer evenings are coming and early mornings are coming and it's a lot brighter, I'm getting ready to sign up to the gym again. Yeah, so my plan is I'm going to be back in the gym at 5:30 in the mornings, do an hour, then I'll shower in the gym, get ready for work, and then I'll go into the office. And then, depending how I feel, I might even go for an hour after work as well. So yeah, because, you know, last year, I was just like absolutely loving it in the gym, absolutely loving it. So, and then the you know, the darker mornings came, the shorter nights, it was cold, weren't happening. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I don't know how I'm going to get on because at the moment my joints are pretty bad. So I don't know how I'm going to get on, but I'm just excited at being able to go there and be in that environment. And even if I'm just walking on the treadmill, I think that is going to motivate me. And you know, I've tried all the stuff like doing a workout at home and putting a YouTube video on, and for me it's not the same. I just like being in that gym environment. So yeah, looking forward to doing that. So somebody asked me, it's the Easter weekend, and I was asked this week if I'm going to be having Easter eggs and hot cross buns and all the delights of the festivities. And in my head I was thinking, you know what people say, there's no such thing as a silly question. Well, that was a silly question for me. I was like, how can you ask me that? Of course I'm going to have a bit of chocolate and Easter egg and enjoy all the food that comes at Easter. Of course I'm going to enjoy that. You know, that's a silly question is what I thought. And enjoy it I did. Enjoy it I did. So I had, I was given a chocolate egg from my colleague at work, which was lovely. My family have got one for me. I forgot to pick it up, take it out with me yesterday. I went over yesterday, had a lovely Easter dinner with my family and my grandkids. That was so delicious, really nice, really well balanced. And then we had a delicious cheesecake. Oh my days, I don't normally like cheesecake, but this cheesecake was delicious. Oh my goodness. And my daughter-in-law, she got the mint Aero and crushed it up and put it on the top, so it had that beautiful chocolatey minty flavor to it. And then she added some blueberries as well. Oh my days, it was absolutely delicious. And then me and my son, we both love the whiskey. Yeah, we had a shot of whiskey each. Really enjoyed that. And just, yeah, really enjoyed it. And then I got home and I cracked my Easter egg that somebody had given me. I had a little bit of that, and I've got to pick up the one I should have picked up yesterday for my grandkids. And I was like, you know what, it's Easter. Why wouldn't I want to celebrate it? Because for me, guys, it's a mindset. And here's my thinking about this. The minute I tell myself I can't have chocolate, can't have Easter egg, can't have a hot cross bun, not that I had hot cross buns, I don't want it, don't like them. From the minute I tell myself I'm not going to have it, I'm depriving myself. And in my head, if I'm saying no to something, I'm on a diet. And for me, and you know what, Weight Watchers often say this isn't a diet, it's a lifestyle plan. But I see so many people making the Weight Watchers program a diet. It's a diet for so many people, because it's like they restrict. I can't have this, I can't have that, I'm not going to have this, I'm cutting this out. From the minute you hear yourself saying I'm cutting this out, you're on a diet. And it's not going to work, because that food is controlling you. You have to learn to be in control of that food. So when I was asked that question, I was like, well, of course I'm having it. Of course I'm enjoying Easter and having the chocolate, because I'm in control. I'm in control, rather than the chocolate controlling me. Because if I said to myself, I'm not going to have any chocolate at Easter, I know what's going to happen, because I know me. Tomorrow, when the Easter eggs are half price, I'll be buying a baker's dozen and I'll be binging them. I'll be binging them, because I've told myself I can't have it. I'm not having it. But I'm having it. So yesterday, cracked my egg, and it was a little pack of mini eggs. I ate those, thoroughly enjoyed those. And then the actual chocolate, I just had a tiny little piece. and the rest is all downstairs in the kitchen. And it's going to go in the fridge with my stash, my collection of other chocolates, and it'll stay there until I want it. Yeah, I've still got Christmas cake in the freezer from Christmas. It's there if and when I want it. I'm in control of it. But the minute I say to myself, I can't have it, I'm on a diet, I'm losing weight, I can't have it, I'm going to go crazy. So yeah, you know, that for me was the silly question. Are you going to have an Easter egg? If I want it, I'm going to have it. And because I'm in control, it's just a small portion. I see it's sat there last night. You know, I was watching TV last night with my podcast, my earbud in, wasn't thinking about it, didn't get up, didn't want it, because I'd had that little piece. I was satisfied. And got up this morning, been in the kitchen, been pottering around it. I've looked at it, not even thought about having it. But the minute I say to myself, I can't have it, one, I'm going to want it, and two, I'm not going to be able to stop. So when people say, you know, they can't be around certain foods because they can't stop themselves, that tells me they're not in control. They're not in control. You should be able to have something, eat a small portion, really enjoy it and savor it, and be in control and say, right, I know when to put the brakes on. It's kind of like driving a car. You're in a car and you know when to switch gears, when to go up, when to come down. You know when to press your clutch, when to press your accelerator. You know when to press your brakes, because you are in control. You've taken control. You could also be in that car and it runs away with you. You could be going down the hill and you just whizzing, free falling down the hill. But because you don't press the brakes and change gear, you're not in control. So you're going to have a massive crash. And it's the same with food. We've got to, it's not about being in the car. Yeah, because you can be in the car and be in control, or you can be in the car and not being in control. Okay, so it's not so much about being in the car, it's what we do. How do we take that control? How do we take it? Being in the driver's seat doesn't put you in control. What puts you in control is being able to operate that car and having the knowledge of when to brake, when to slow down, when to speed up, when to turn, when to declutch, when to change gears. That is what puts you in control. And the same with the food. You could have, you know, the biggest chocolate egg there, and it could be sat in your house. But if you don't know how to manage yourself, then you're not going to be able to take control of that. And when it's sat there in your kitchen, in your living room, and you say, okay, I'm going to be in control of me and this situation, and I'm going to control that egg. Yeah. It could be that you take control by saying, okay, I'm going to have a really well-balanced meal first, and then I'm going to have a little bit of chocolate. That puts you in control. But if you just say, okay, you know, you're hungry, so I'm just going to start on the egg, on the chocolate, that's going to put you way out of control, because you're eating that chocolate to satisfy the hunger. Yeah. And it's also that mindset that says, you know what, I'm just going to have a little piece, I'm going to savor it, I'm going to enjoy it, job done. So, you know, and that's just a really, really quick overview, but there's a lot more to be said about being in control and how we take control and how we constantly put ourselves in control. Because the way that when I was asked that question, I was like, well, I don't ever see myself never having chocolate again. I will have chocolate. I will have chocolate whenever I fancy it. You know, I've got so much chocolate in my fridge at the moment, you know, that people have bought me. But I don't ever see myself never having it again. I don't ever see myself never having crisps or cake again. Don't ever see myself doing that. I don't ever see myself having cheese again. I will have those things. So it's learning how to be in control of those things for life. But there's some things that I don't have. I don't smoke. I don't eat oysters or octopus or caviar or roe or, you know, things like I don't like those things. So am I gonna be in control of those? Well, there's no need, because I don't ever have those. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot to be said about taking control, and it's not a one size fits all, and it's not a once you've done it, that's it, I'm in control. No, it's something that we have to practice over and over and over again. So yeah, so this month I would say for me, I'd say it was about a 5 out of 10. Yeah, 5 out of 10, because of being in a new situation, dealing with some new challenges. There were challenges I anticipated, but sometimes no matter how much you anticipate a challenge, it still comes up and affects you. So that was it for me. So I took my measurements, guys, and I'm really pleased to say that I've lost another 1/2 an inch off my bust. My bust is just absolutely shrinking, I've got a jacket that I bought last summer, and I'll have to take a photo and show you. And when I bought it last summer, I actually did a try on. And when I bought it, it didn't fit on the hips. I couldn't button it on the hips, and I could just about button it on the chest. Now it just literally wraps across me on the chest, but I can button it on the hips. So that tells me straight away I've lost a little bit over this, well, it's not quite a year, in the past 8 to 9 months on the hips, a little bit, but I've lost loads on the bust, loads. And that is exactly what my measurements tell me. So I've lost another 1/2 an inch off my bust, which I'm really pleased about. But I've not lost anything on my hips or on my waist. So that's 2 months that I haven't lost anything there, and I'm okay with it. Because I know that, like, this past summer, or sorry, the past 6 months, I haven't been moving as much, so it's to be expected. But now that the weather is changing, the next 6 months I intend to be on it like a hot car bonnet. I'm going to be on it, stepping up my activity, especially when I get back in the gym. So I'm hoping to see some inches going from my hip and my waist. But my bust, I really don't want to lose any more on my bust. They're disappearing fast. But I really need to lose it on my hips. And I'm okay with my waist. It's just my hips. My hips are just not moving anywhere. So yeah, I'm going to be focusing on some activity to help, you know, lose even just an inch on my hips. That would be nice. And as for my weight in the month of March, now this, I'm going to say, was total surprise in terms of that number on the scales. Bearing in mind all the things that I shared with you earlier, the fact that I was grazing like a cow in a field. I was just constantly grazing for at least the first 3 weeks in March. Wasn't necessarily eating a huge amount of food, wasn't necessarily eating things that I wouldn't normally eat. It was just the constant grazing. But as of this morning, guys, £2 off. £2 off in the month of March, which I'm really pleased with. £2 off and half an inch off my bust, and copious amounts of learning for the month of March. So I'm really pleased with that. And do you know what? I think that, and this is why I like to weigh monthly. If I was weighing, thank you, Nita, thank you. If I had weighed weekly, I would definitely have seen that up and up. I would have definitely have seen that. If I'd have weighed daily, I'd have lost the will to live. That's just me. Seriously, I'd have lost the will to live if I'd have weighed daily, because I would see that fluctuation going up and down, and it would drive me crazy. Especially knowing like the challenges that I had in the month. But because I weigh monthly, I just put all of that aside, the numbers, and I just focused in on my challenges. I focused in on doing the reflection. I focused in on making sure I was still eating the protein, getting that protein in, and the fiber, making sure I was just getting that water in, making sure I was doing my 3 walks a day around the shopping centre. I was just focusing on those healthy habits, on those actions, rather than focusing on the number, rather than, oh, this week I've gone up or I've gained, or all of that. No, life's too short, for me anyway, life's too short to be focusing on that and getting worried and concerned about all of that. I just focused my mind on doing the actions, and then doing the reflection and being able to pull back and say, right, I need to resolve this. I've got a problem, I need to deal with it. Yeah. And I think this past week, if I had to say, there was a week that I think my first week was a good week because it was all new to my body, and I did feel different in my body because I was moving a lot more, you know. It was the second and third week that really the big challenges came, but I was able to pull it back on last week. So I think the saving grace was my first 2 weeks. Week 1 and week 4. But the 2 middle weeks, I think, probably could have potentially been quite damaging. But it all averaged out, and a really, really good £2 loss in the month of March, which fits really nicely with my body and my averages. And my average is less than £0.5 a week. It's now about 0.3 is my average. So £0.5 over per week. So £2 off in the month, which is averages at about £0.5 a week. Spot on for me. Spot on. Yeah. So really, really pleased with that. Really, really pleased with my progress. And I've really impressed myself with the level of reflection and understanding why I was grazing on those biscuits. That, I think, was really key for me, and a real skill, not just do the sticky plaster bit, but to really go underneath that surface and to deal with that issue. That was really key. So I'm really looking forward now. We're in spring, we're in April, and I'm really looking forward this month to stepping up my activity. I think my food generally is very, very good. I do my meal preps. And I'm going to do some today, so feel free to join me. I'll let you know when I'm going live. So I do my meal preps. I've still got loads of meals in the fridge and the freezer that I have for my evening meals, but I'm going to make some food for lunch and also get some breakfast stuff prepped. And yeah, so I'm going to focus on that, and also really looking forward to getting the activity up a level as well. I've got a lot of work to do in the garden. I've called me gardener. I know it sounds a bit posh saying I've got a gardener, but you know, it is a big garden, and I do need a lot of help. So he does help me with all the manual stuff, but all that, the planting and the weeding, you know, I like to do. But he moves all the heavy pots and cuts the trees and you know, all of that stuff. So yeah, I'm going to get my gardener over. I'm going to get in the garden and do some work in there. And then also I'm going to get into the gym as well, getting my routine going with my gym. And yeah, I'm really, really excited for the summer months. Yeah. And yeah, looking for the life is good. Life is good. So guys, I would love to know, how are you doing? What's happening for you? What progress are you making? I would love to know. Do feel free to share with me. See guys, we are, on my days, we are super close. We are super close to hitting that first milestone. And you know what? I just can't thank you enough. I just cannot thank you enough for really pulling out all the stops and supporting me. You guys are just incredible, you know. So I thank you so much. Yeah, there's gonna be some exciting things happening here on the channel, and yeah, once we hit that milestone, I will be able to reveal all to you and let you know what is going to be happening. Yeah, I'm really excited. Really, really excited. So not long to go. So guys, you know, keep supporting me, keep supporting this channel. And the best way that you can do it is by watching another video, or 3. Yeah. And you know, put a playlist on, you know, go into the playlist, go for the live sessions, and just let them run. Watch them, listen to them, put them on in the background when you're sleeping, just let it run. All that just absolutely helps to build the watch time. As soon as we hit that milestone, then all will be revealed, and some great and exciting things are going to be happening on the channel. So guys, what are you doing for the rest of the day? I've got to go put my shoes on, and I've got to go down the Tesco's, and I've got to buy more chicken. I know these cats are costing me a fortune. I could go buy some more chicken and boil it up so I can feed them. I know. Well, it's only the one cat that needs the boiled chicken, but putting it down just for the one cat just feels a bit mean. So I give it to all 3 of them. Yeah, give to all 3 of them, and they just gobble it all up. So I'm gonna go and get that all sorted now. Guys, I'm hoping to be back a little bit later, but I'll let you know when I do go live, because I've got to do some cooking, and you may want to join me. But for now, thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care, guys. Bye.